One question I hear often is something to the effect of, what advice would I go back and give myself when I was first starting my real estate investing career? What do I wish I knew, or what do I wish I had done differently? Well, I'm going to tell you, coming right up. What's up, fam? I'm so glad you're here. Today's video is really for those of you getting started on your real estate investing journey. Probably the number one most asked question I hear is either what I wish I knew or what I would have done differently. In fact, I was invited to present a seminar on this very topic at a National Real Estate Investors webinar last month. So without further ado, I'm going to share with you my presentation from that day, the 5 things that I wish I had done differently when I was first starting out. And you can start out by smashing that like button and subscribing if you want to see more content like this. So first is organize your record keeping. This was and still is my number one challenge. Some people do not have this issue at all, and if that's you, wonderful. You have dodged what might have been the biggest mess in your life. But if you're at all like me and my wife, and you're not predisposed to impeccable record keeping, then you'll want to get all your ducks in a row from the beginning. I'm talking about logging every single expense, keeping records of your repairs and warranty information, all of your miles driven for each and every property. And it honestly isn't that difficult to do, but it's exponentially harder to do after the fact than if you just keep your records as you go. So do it. Just do it. Now, I will add that it was particularly problematic for us because we really hit the ground running, like 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds. I think we got our first 4 properties within 3 months. By the end of the first year, we had properties under 5 different entities, and we were also operating many different kinds of businesses. We had our own real estate investments, we had our business helping others invest, we had partnerships with other investors, and then Kelly had her sole proprietorship as a realtor. So there were a lot of moving parts that maybe wouldn't present the same issues to somebody slowly learning the ropes with one property at a time. But it cannot hurt to just be organized. Just do it. Secondly, start as soon as possible. This is like a 1B. It is something that you hear so often that it has become very cliche, but this really is appropriate advice, and it is incredibly true for me. I wish I had started sooner. I had been thinking about it and researching it for years, but never took the next steps. After I met my wife, she urged me to invest for over a year before we finally made the decision to do it. And it was because of her, because she wanted to quit her job and move back to Florida. It was because of her that I finally made the leap, and I wish I had done it sooner. Now, I would never tell anyone to do something before they are ready. You want to be prepared, you want to do your homework, and you want to make sure you find the right investment before you jump in. Don't rush and don't just snap up deals for the sake of getting started. However, you cannot wait to be super comfortable. Most people will never be comfortable with their first investment, so you'd be waiting forever. You cannot wait for the perfect time or the perfect property. Most people will never find those perfect times or perfect properties, so you have to trust yourself. If you're in this for the long haul, then you don't need to worry about timing the market or making small mistakes. If this is going to be a lifelong endeavor, then you honestly will gain more value from your mistakes than they cost you financially. So even if things go wrong, and they might or they might not, but even if things go wrong, you will gain from it in the long run. Just do it. Number 3 is house hacking. So this is another extremely popular way for beginners to get started. When investors talk about house hacking, they're basically referring to any method of utilizing one's own personal residence to generate income and possibly also lower out-of-pocket expenses. So the 2 most common types of house hacking are to rent out the spare bedrooms in your home or to buy a small multifamily property and rent out the extra units. Since it is your primary residence, you will get better loan terms, lower rates, and sometimes a very small down payment compared to a typical investment property. And the ideal scenario is that your renters cover your entire mortgage, allowing you to live for free in your home. I never house hacked, but I really wish I had. It might have gotten me to start investing sooner. Number 4 is to utilize short-term rentals like Airbnb. If you haven't seen our Airbnb story, you can watch it here. But without giving too much away, if you have seen it, then you know that we kind of inadvertently ended up listing our properties on Airbnb. We did not plan it out ahead of time, and I personally never thought I would be an Airbnb host, ever. But fortunately, fate had other ideas, and so even though it was never my intention, I ended up being a super host. I have had a total of 13 Airbnb listings at various times, and I have an entire series of short-term rental videos that you can watch here or linked in the description down below. As I talk about often in those videos, short-term renting is not right for every property or for every investor. There are some properties where it makes sense and some where it doesn't. And there are many pros and cons to doing it. So as an investor, you may not find it worthwhile. But if I had known all of the benefits from the beginning, and if I had considered all the possibilities, I would have taken a different and more strategic investment path. This also goes really well with number 3, house hacking. I think I would have been more inclined to use Airbnb as my preferred house hacking strategy when I was young and first considering real estate investing. Number 5 is to keep your job and get a mortgage. Leveraging is such a useful tool in real estate investing, and quite honestly, we did very little of it. It definitely could have helped us to grow wealth faster. Now, I wasn't in much of a position to leverage when we started our investing, but my wife was, and we really should have used her high income to squeeze out at least one more loan before she quit her job. We also ended up having our first kid a year after that, so our timing just wasn't the best. If she had kept her job throughout the pregnancy, I think we would have saved something around $25,000 on healthcare and maternity benefits. But that's okay, she really wanted to leave that job. My point is, if you really want to move on, then do what's best for your mental and emotional well-being. But if you have a good salary and you're on the fence about whether or not to keep your job, then stay for as long as you can. That income will help you in many ways. First and foremost, being getting mortgages and acquiring more properties. So there you have it, 5 things I wish I had done differently when we first started investing. If you have any questions or corrections, drop them in the comments, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. 8 years from now, I don't want you making a video about how you wish you had subscribed to my channel. See you next time.